All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the April 1st, 2026 regular business meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take the roll call. Chair Charles.
Present.
Vice Chair Newfigleis.
Here.
Supervisor Darby is absent. Supervisor McFarland is absent. Supervisor Knights.
Here.
And our student representative is absent.
Great. Prior to tonight's business meeting, the board held an executive session to discuss personnel matters and litigation and to gather information from township staff and the solicitor regarding zoning ordinance update, but no deliberation took place. I just want to wish everybody a happy Passover that celebrates, a Good Friday, and a very happy Easter as well this coming holidays. Okay, first up, I'll read a proclamation that's special to me and the board and the township. Proclamation, Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas children are the nation's most vulnerable members and our most valuable resources, helping to shape the future of Lower Providence Township. And whereas all children deserve to have a safe, stable, and nurturing home, surrounded by communities that foster their healthy growth and development. And whereas this year's theme for Child Abuse Prevention Month, Pinwheels of Possibility, celebrates the limitless potential of children and families when community partnerships provide them with support, services, and resources they need to thrive. And whereas effective child abuse strategies succeed because of the involvement of community members, human service agencies, schools, faith communities, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Now, therefore, the Board of Supervisors of Lower Providence Township hereby proclaim April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and urges all citizens to lift up families to prevent child abuse and strengthen our community, proclaimed this first day of April 2026. Okay, on to presentations. We have several presentations tonight. We were going to start in line with the proclamation of Child Abuse Prevention Month with something I'm so excited to hear about and for our community to hear more information about is from the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office, and we're very lucky to have the Pennsylvania Chief Deputy Attorney General here, Heather Castellino, and she's in charge of the human trafficking section. So please come up to the microphone. Thank you. And I'll note real quick that this unit is located within the township, the human trafficking section for the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Can you hear me? Okay.
CDAG, thank you for being here.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you for the invitation and the opportunity. Unless you have any other direction, I'm just going to give a little bit of an overview of what we do at the Attorney General's office and just speak generally a little bit to human trafficking. So as Sarah said, we have an office right in Lower Providence, right near on Trooper Road, right near the entrance to 422. That's one of our many offices throughout the Commonwealth. Our main central office is in Harrisburg. I'm ahead of the human trafficking section. I've been in the office for a very long time, but our human trafficking section is relatively new. We just turned 2 in February. We have been working human trafficking cases for a lot longer than that, but it's something that our former Attorney General, Henry, decided was important enough to establish a unit, and we have grown every year since then. I can tell you right now we have 9 agents, 5 prosecutors, an analyst, and something that is very new to our office and we're all very excited about is a victim advocate that is dedicated to the human trafficking section and only the human trafficking section for the Attorney General's office. I can tell you a little bit about the kind of cases that we do. Some people think the Attorney General's office is just a giant super DA's office. We're a little bit different than that. We prosecute a lot of the same cases DA's offices do, but we also have an entire civil section and consumer protection sections that do different types of work. The human trafficking section is one of the several in the criminal law division. And one of the reasons we decided that it was a good opportunity to have a devoted section was that we were granted original jurisdiction by the legislature back in 2018. I think it's also interesting to note that the first comprehensive human trafficking section in our Commonwealth wasn't until 2014. So yeah, I saw some eyebrows go up. Yeah, it hasn't been very long. And we've been working the cases even prior to that enactment, and we tried to do it in a creative way, but the statute has grown. I'd encourage you all, if you're interested, to take a look at it and maybe take a look at some of the pending legislation. And if you can support some of that legislation as constituents, that would be very helpful to us. We're trying to increase some of the penalties for sex buyers. Right now, that's only an M3, which is kind of almost the equivalent of a traffic ticket, so it's not much of a deterrent. I met your chief this evening, and I'd be surprised if he wouldn't agree with me that it happens right in your neighborhood. Without getting into any specifics, it happens in, I think we all kind of think of it as happening in like locked rooms, but it isn't just there, it's in hotels. It's disguised as massage parlors. And as a local and for my work and my home, I'm aware of a lot of the massage parlors we see around here. I'll say also that a couple of the things I'd like to touch on, and please stop me, sir, if I go too long, okay, is something that I always like to discuss is some of the myths that surround human trafficking. One thing I hear a lot is that people think that you need to be like chained up to a pole or a radiator, or you need to be locked in a room to be trafficked. That happens, but honestly, that happens much more infrequently than what people sometimes call the invisible change, which is manipulation. And the average age, to your point about child abuse, the average age of entry into human trafficking, specifically sex trafficking, is between like 12 and 15. But I'll be honest with you, most of the cases we prosecute are not cases where we encounter or discover the victims at that age, but rather when they're a little bit older, maybe into their 20s or 30s. It's something that continues for a long period of time. It's something that's very hard for us as law enforcement to discover and then prosecute, and some of these myths are the reason why. And like I said, one of them is that you have to actually be locked up in chains. It usually doesn't work that way. And Hollywood, I think, is a lot to blame for that. The examples that I used, and I think it's becoming dated. My teenager tells me it's dated, but the movie Taken is something that I think of commonly with human trafficking. And my friends talk about that, and I'm afraid to send my kids out, to Europe. They're going to be kidnapped and they're going to be trafficked. The trafficking generally starts a lot of times online, and it's a grooming process. And it's, even if it's not online, it can be meeting someone at the mall, meeting someone at the store, sometimes they wait outside of schools. But it's not the picture where your mind is probably going from there, is that the victims don't get grabbed up and shoved into a van or a car. It's unfortunately more sophisticated than that, which makes it even harder for us to discover, investigate, and prosecute. A lot of times when we find a victim or a trafficker in a situation, and I use the term victim, which is something I need to address, that's what the law states, and I'm a prosecutor for the Commonwealth. So I use the legal terms as defined in the Crimes Code, the Pennsylvania Crimes Code. Proper terminology would be survivor, and I use those terms interchangeably, but I'm going to try to focus on the use of the term survivor tonight. When we encounter those survivors, usually initially, they don't identify as victims or survivors, and they're not generally asking for help. I think a lot of times people view this And this is for young teenagers, adults, across the board. There's also movies that portray, Sound of Freedom is one, and it's this hero rescuing a bunch of kids. And the real heroes are the survivors because they've endured. And then if we find them and encounter them, we don't rescue them. They rescue themselves. We help them. We refer them to services. But that's just the beginning of their journey if they're willing to testify against their trafficker. And I think it's obvious for a lot of reasons why someone wouldn't want to do that. And it's not just out of fear of harm from the trafficker. It's, imagine this. It's not unlikely or uncommon for a young victim to have been trafficked for a number of years, and during the course of that sex trafficking, forced to have sex with individual buyers 10, 12 times a day. That's not something that you want to tell anyone about, and it's certainly not something that you want to sit in a courtroom in front of a judge and a jury and tell them about. So I say that in the context of some of the myths that we hear about and the rescue, the idea of using the correct terminology is important. Let's try to say the word survivor. Let's try not to use the word rescue. Something else I like to point out to people is that something else that's also commonly confused is the difference between smuggling and trafficking. Smuggling is a crime against a border. So if you come across a country's border illegally, that's smuggling. That's a federal crime. We don't obviously deal with that, and we don't have jurisdiction over that in Pennsylvania. Trafficking doesn't require any movement at all, actually. Smuggling could be combined with trafficking. They can go hand in hand, and often they do. But to be trafficked, it creates a visual of someone being moved. But the law, as it's laid out, both federally and in our Commonwealth, requires absolutely no movement. And in fact, someone could be confined, not locked, but confined to a hotel room and can't leave because the trafficker's there, or the trafficker has convinced her or him that if they leave, something bad's gonna happen. The trafficker can say things, I've heard stories like, I know where your kids live, and they usually do. I'm going to tell your parents what you've been doing. They say, you're the one committing a crime. You're the one in this room having sex with men for money. That's prostitution. That's a crime. It's about this mental control and manipulation. With that being said, there often is a point in time where the traffickers, especially the more sophisticated ones, move throughout jurisdictions and throughout states. And that's part of the reason why we at the Attorney General's office are in a somewhat unique position to prosecute this crime, because there's not many trafficking cases that are confined to one particular area. They don't understand boundaries. They don't care about boundaries. Most of the cases I've encountered in Southeast Pennsylvania have been not just in Philadelphia, but have touched on all the surrounding counties, usually cross over to New Jersey. They're going to go where the buyers are, where the money is, because when it comes down to it, when you talk about either sex or labor trafficking, it's sure, is it a crime of violence? Yes. Is it a crime against humanity? But it's mostly a crime of greed. That's what drives these traffickers. It's money. It's about money. And so they're going to go wherever the money is. I mentioned buyers and why that's important. I'm a prosecutor. I didn't do well in economics or math, but I understand the very basics of supply and demand. And that's really what we talk about when we talk about buyers. If people weren't buying other human beings, then there wouldn't be a need to sell them, and there wouldn't be any trafficking. So we've been successful. It's in some of the cases we've investigated and prosecuted. One of the things we make a point not to do is arrest women or men who are in prostitution, meaning if they're the one selling sex, we don't arrest. We assume until we know otherwise that that person is a victim. And even if they don't ever become a victim in a case that we end up prosecuting, we offer them services and help, because we are operating under the assumption that that person does not want to be in that situation, regardless of whether they're being trafficked. Most of our cases are multi-jurisdiction. We prosecute and investigate both sex and labor trafficking cases. Labor trafficking cases are something that it's not new, but it's newer to law enforcement and prosecution, and we're working on getting ourselves to a better place where we're in a better position to do that. And we're learning that, again, that's also in our communities. We haven't prosecuted a case right here in Lower Providence or in Montgomery County, but we have one in Chester County right now. And, you know, I would ask you all, I guess, in closing, to just think about it a little bit more. Reach out to us if you ever have any questions or you ever think you see anything. There is a national hotline that you can call. I always have to preface this by saying, if it's an emergency, please call 911. Don't call you might get somebody who doesn't understand what's happening and isn't able to respond in an emergency. The state police also have a tip line that's specific for human trafficking. And we work with them very often, but if you can just take away from this, like some small things and understand, or always say tell your friends, because everybody here is a potential juror, and that's the way I'm gonna look at people. If they could be educated and understand what human trafficking is and isn't, and maybe stop focusing on the things you see on social media of kids or people with pamphlets into Target parking lot and have pamphlets and all those things that go around TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is, and educate yourselves on what's really happening in your neighborhood and your community. I'd appreciate it.
Great, thank you
Thanks,
so
Sarah.
much,
Thank
Chief Deputy Attorney General Castellino. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that. I also want to thank the former Attorney General Michelle Henry for her leadership and prior executive team, and I know you're a part of that and leading this effort, and then Attorney General Sunday now for continuing it. So it's couldn't be more important. So next up, is a student here? Okay. All right. Next, we're going to have Methacton High School post-prom check presentation. Katie, if you want to come up.
No, I'm going to follow that.
Great.
Welcome
It's
back,
all
Katie.
taking care of the kids.
I've
All
been here
taking care of the
several
kids.
times. So my name is Katie Shireman, and I am the chair of Methacton High School Post Prom. If you don't know what post prom is, it is literally that. It is open to all Methacton High School juniors and seniors and their dates, and it happens immediately following prom. It starts at 10:30, and we run till 5 a.m. It's free to all the students. Last year, we had 703 students come through and spend the night with us. It costs us $50,000 to put on, and that is through community fundraising and business support and donations, parent support, and basically just our community. So if you want to come see everything, our theme this year is brand new. It's called Fun and Games, and we do a community walkthrough on Friday night prior to the students coming in, and it's from 6:30 to 8:30 at Methacton High School. It's also free. It's about 1,000 community members that come through, just pretty impressive. And you can see what we do and what we're all about and what our money goes towards. The students that night have everything from inflatables to laser tag to a casino to a game room to a hypnotist, coffee house, open mic, everything, volleyball tournament, dodgeball tournament, a quiet room, a space to charge their phones, some board games, Dungeons and Dragons, escape rooms, a tattoo artist, a henna station, silent disco, laser tag. I'm sure I'm missing something, but it is 6.5 hours of fun. If you want to volunteer, we also need 300 volunteers to keep the night going. And I think we need 91 as of 4 o'clock today. You can go to methactonpostprom.org. We put together our own website this year. All the information is there if you want to donate, if you just want to come hang out with us, because we're kind of fun people, or if you want to come to the community walkthrough. That's where we are.
Great, okay, we have a check from the township for you.
What's the date again, Katie? I know you
It
said it at
is
the beginning.
Friday, April 24th. Can't mess this, we're all outside the high school. Oh, thank you. Oh, sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. Thank you.
All right. Hey, thank you, ladies. All right, next we have JP Mascaro and Son recycling presentation. And we have Ryan here, and I believe Ryan has some materials to the table.
Okay.
If anybody, would like to grab some.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Nice seeing
good to see
again.
you.
All right. I'm Ryan Gibney. I'm the sales manager for JP Mascaro. I brought Sam Augustine with me. He's our director of sales, 42 years, and Frank Communications with us. All right. I've met you all before. We've done tours before. Anything we can do to help the community and understanding more about what we do with your trash, what we do with recycling, how you can divert it better. But on the drive over, it's something that I was speaking with Pat, and he wanted to make sure you guys knew. On the drive over today, I was thinking about how important and how special Lower Providence is to the Mascaro family and to the company. It is a special relationship, and it made me go back and think of when I was a kid. My mom and dad always said to all my brothers and sisters, we love all of you the same. They always said that. I don't know. I have 4 kids now, and I love them all. All right? But there's one, my daughter Ireland, and it's just special. And we service a lot of municipalities and townships. We really do, more than anybody else. But Lower Providence, that's what Lower Providence is to Mascaro. You are that special community that means so much to us. We have a unique relationship, and I am going to get to the recycling, but we wanted to just make sure that you guys were aware, and anybody in the audience who's from here wants to learn about it, we'd be glad to give tours to them too. All right, we've set them up with Mascaro. And many times we speak of, and Pat has said many times, that what's important to a community is to keep it safe and clean and orderly, all your law enforcement and your fire department. And we believe then your trash company. All right? Now, whether you believe that or not, what's important is we believe it. And we take that responsibility very seriously. All right? We've had a relationship with you guys for over 30 years. I'm sure there's a lot you don't know about us. There's a lot that goes on there more than just picking up the trash. That really matters. Mascaro, we bring a lot of financial and operational stability to what is an unstable market. And you guys and many of Mascaro customers, you guys for 30 years, have been shielded from all that. In the past few years, massive consolidation. We don't have, there's no more Advance, no more Accurate, no more Horizon, no more AJ, no more Eagle, no more Whitetail, no more LEC. They all don't operate in this footprint anymore. And the biggest reasons are, commitment to the company credo, commitment to the communities and our customers, infrastructure, but most importantly, ownership of that infrastructure. Mascaro owns and operates landfills, recycling centers, transfer stations that are required for long-term service. And we're fully self-reliant, which makes Lower Providence, as far as your trash goes, fully self-reliant. Mm-hmm. We don't depend on any third parties, which makes Lower Providence not depend on any third parties. Nobody's telling us what the tip rate is. Nobody's telling us what we can recycle, can't recycle, what site is closing, or so forth. We're isolated from the industry volatility, which makes you guys isolated from it. Yeah? All your trash goes to the most advanced disposal technology that's available in the area, which is Pioneer. All right? We take all your trash. It's all converted and broken down and turned into methane and natural gas and electricity. So all of it goes without burning a ton. And if you may not, I'm sure you're not aware of this because it's important to people like me more than it is you. The waste hierarchy used to have incineration as like the third best thing. Right now it's reuse, recycle, bioreaction, cold tomb, and incineration is last. In fact, you've got them closing all around us. California closed their last incinerator, and that is what's going to happen. This is a failed experiment, and they are going to close. And all the companies that rely on it are going to have to find alternative methods. We are not. All those alternative methods are going to be more costly to them. So Lower Providence is in a good place. Again, we operate what is called a bioreactor, and we create that energy without burning a ton. Our DEP record it's not even close. The compliance, our DEP record compared to any other company is not even close. And how does that affect you? Well, it's nice that it makes you best first-in-class ESG, environmental social governance, just by association. But we're not paying the tens of millions to hundreds of millions of dollars in fines that your national, like your Waste and your Casella and Republic, are all paying. And that ends up getting passed on to the customer. Sound financials, running the environment, the landfill correctly, save money and keep the costs down, keep them tight. So that brings us to our, one last thing is something else I want to point out was that right now, we're always thinking ahead. We've had you for 30 years. A lot's changed in the waste industry in 30 years, and it's going to change even more. Lower Providence is going to be here in 30 years. Mascaro is going to be here in 30 years. But right now, there is a waste. It's called putrescent waste. And you now have Massachusetts, California, New York, Illinois, Ohio, Vermont, and certain segments of PA that require that to be separated from all other waste. In California and Vermont, you have to separate it curbside. All right? It's called putrescent waste. It's your food. It would be your cat litter. It would be if you pick up your dog's waste and put it in a bag. That all has to go in separate containers. But the one thing with Mascaro is we own the largest indoor composting facility in the state. So again, even if that ever occurred, Mascaro is going to be able to take that waste and keep it inside our infrastructure. All right? But that brings us to our recycling center. It's the #1 recycling center in the country. And it's very different, okay? I point these things out not to put down the competition, but it's state-of-the-art. Republic, Waste Management, Casella, all of them. They recycle plastics #1 and 2. There's 7 plastics and then flexible. They recycle 1 and 2 only. They recycle cardboard and paper like everybody else. They don't recycle any glass. Now, don't get me wrong. You put it in the container, they'll pick it up at the street, but it gets diverted to a landfill or an incinerator. It doesn't go in there into the recycling. All right, and they don't do any flexibles, no flexible packaging. And a lot of consumers don't know what flexible packaging is, and that when living in Lower Providence, you should put it in your recycling bin. All right, cardboard is the #1 recycled product in the U.S. by weight, by sheer mass. It's flexible packaging, and it's the almost zero collected. So we collect things like here that I want people to like spread the word or have them come out. This is Snickers, this Hershey bar. Everybody would eat this candy bar and throw that in the trash. Mm-hmm. That's recyclable. You can put that in the recycling. Your Dorito bag.
Can I just ask you, do those items say that they're recyclable?
You know what? That's a good question.
Because a lot of the items,
a lot of them don't,
the packaging doesn't say
They
it.
are, but the states that are, there's a new packaging law that's sweeping across the country. California's already doing it. These companies have to provide the collection of this material. But because no one can collect it, you're right, it doesn't have recycling.
Right,
So we try to spread it, but this, recyclable. And they can get a good idea. Wrapper to a loaf of bread.
Yep.
It's recyclable. People always, your frozen fruit and vegetable bags, your steamer bags, all recyclable. The case wrapped to a bottle, how many people get these every week? Your FedEx bags, all right? Your grocery bag that's fined all over the place. That's all recyclable. You can put it right into your recycling bin, case wrap for water, and this is another product because of our Flex. All your juice boxes, all your...
My bag.
You brought some?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. They just thought I was a bag lady, but no, I've got things. And I asked you specifically. Now, gummy bears, or some people call them gummy bears, I want it for the record, this is not something I eat daily, okay? All right? Love the stuff, but it's a 3-pound bag. Nowhere on it says it's recyclable. But it is, okay. And actually, here's my mixed vegetable. What about tomatoes? Okay,
Yep.
that's recyclable?
You're
Okay.
looking for things that are going to be not much smaller than that candy bar wrap.
This, my
Yes.
coffee? All right, all right. Okay, here's, this is applesauce, recycle, both of them. All right, whoops, sorry, Sarah. Let's see. All right, this was interesting. My checks were mailed to me in this container.
Yep.
All right, my Cheez-Its bag,
Yep.
okay?
All the inside of a
Love
cereal
'em.
box, right?
All right, dog food. Yes, all right, because it says on here, not recyclable.
It is.
All right, but that's good. All right, let's see.
Example, this is some of the things that are made out of.
All right, like little bottles like this. What about these?
Yeah.
Recyclable.
Recyclable.
All
And
right.
The other thing being is you'll see, like, I live in Chester County. They have an ad on the TV all the time about, their water bottle and telling you, oh, the cap, no, throw that out, it's too small. No, we recycle. And here, around here, you can throw that in there. All right? And we also take pizza boxes. All right? A lot of people tell you don't take the pizza box. Okay? Please don't throw the pizza out, the whole pizza, but just give us the box. Because again, there's different markets for different qualities, and we get less cardboard and so forth if we tell people no. So, cut the top off. Nobody's doing that. They just throw it out. That can go in there.
Question 2. Okay, I shred a lot of paper, bills, bank statements, things like that. I shred that. Is shreddable paper recycling? Because I've heard people say, no, if you shred it, you can't recycle
No, I
it.
can-
Good. All right.
It gets chopped up in small ends.
That's, yeah.
And those pieces are like this long, like they won't get wound up in the stars, in the filters.
And like, okay, pill bottles, the caps, keep the caps on them? Yep.
Keep it on there.
Do you have to clean the bags out?
No, but here, let me explain like that. That's the one thing about say for instance, a water bottle, or a peanut butter jar, or a mayonnaise jar. They don't have to be cleaned, but they should be. I'm sorry, you can't hear us. Yeah. Okay. The mayonnaise jar, the ketchup bottle, those things.
Right.
They don't have to be washed, but we do like that they're down. It's the residue that's on the inside of it. All right. Because what happens when you put it in there, say for instance you leave a half inch, an inch of ketchup, or you leave a little bit of your water bottle. When it goes through the system, the jets can't blow the material in there. It spins around like a weeble. So it ends up getting diverted into the trash. Right? You should pour it out. So it's not, you don't have to clean it, but use a spatula, make the sandwich, get the peanut butter out, so forth. But you don't have to wash it. Oh, sorry.
And so when it comes into your recycling plant, you've got guys and gals potentially sorting some of this stuff out, or
Yeah, there is a manual pre-sort line, but our
Right.
technology has reduced that tremendously. All right, and you've been through the facility.
Yeah.
There's a huge drum feeder that breaks up all of it because it all comes in compacted. It breaks it all up so it's loose. They will identify certain things that aren't recyclable. I mean, they'll pull garden hoses out of there. Okay, a garden hose isn't recyclable. All right, they'll pull a bowling ball out of there. A bowling ball is not recyclable. But and again, they'll also pull things that are recyclable, like a laundry basket. Little Tykes furniture people throw in there. It won't go through our system, but it does get pulled out and dropped into a bulk bin where that is recycled. Yeah, buckets.
Well, I have to be honest, seeing your operation, first seeing the landfill and how high that is, and then seeing your recycling plant, it's totally changed how I recycle things, because there was assumptions I made that now it's all going in the recycling.
Well, it is true that, again, in most places, if you're not a Mascara customer, or you can't. All those things are contaminants with every other company. But again, that recycling center, we want to protect that the landfill. We want to keep things out of there. One of the reasons sometimes people ask me, well, if there's no money in plastics 3 through 7, and there's no money in the RFlex, why do you do it? And there's not. There isn't money. But we do have a soft cost benefit in keeping it out of the landfill. Because for every yard of recycling that could be recycled, even if all we got was cost of collection and no payback downstream, it's a yard of space available in the landfill for trash. So it extends the life of the landfill, keeping those materials out of there.
Well, in the environment.
Yes. Yeah, but I'm giving there's all reasons.
Yeah,
there's reasons.
there's tons of reasons.
You got to peel back the onion. There's a lot of reasons why we do it. All right. So if anybody ever has any questions, or if you wanted to get a tour together for whether it was a group of kids, whatever, we're always willing to take them. Anybody?
I have a question. What is it that you do with the plastics that is different than what another recycler would do with the plastics? Is it the fact that you're willing to accept a lower price per pound?
Well, we accept, like, for instance, these RFlex materials. It's like $10 a ton. $10 a ton. It costs $55 to bale it.
Yeah.
Labor. You're losing, but where you lose $45, you gain all that space in the landfill for trash that is a profit, and over the life you extend that life to be able to collect more trash. So there's a soft cost benefit that is a give back.
So you're separating out the different plastics and selling them off into different streams?
All of them. Like all the RFlex materials, or the plastic, excuse me, they get made into things like this. This is a substitute for drywall. All right, it's made out of paper, plastic, aseptic carton material is a big one that's used for that. All right, and it's stronger than drywall, and it's more moisture resistant. It's right now being made for one company for its own building use, and we really can't give them enough of it. But if you ever held this compared to drywall, this is a product that's a combination of paper and flexible packagings. There's even a little aluminum in there. Look how strong that is. If you took a piece of drywall, you'd crack that right off. Easily. You can't bend that. I'm very strong. Yeah.
But
I'm
again,
freakishly strong, and I can't break it.
But again, it goes to the point, at some point, the life cycle of your landfill is going to require you to get more land to build more landfill if you don't recycle.
Well, it does. It extends that.
You extend the life of the current landfill.
Yes. Yep. Which is a wonderful thing for everybody. All right. And also, there's other uses for it too, which are crazy. Like these plastics that make these flexibles can be broken down to make jet fuel. All right. And when you make jet fuel, you end up with a byproduct called carbon black. Carbon black's more valuable than the jet fuel. So you've got, like, carbon black is in the rim of these glasses. It's in the sole of your shoes. It's in the ink in your pen. It's in the tires. It's in the road you drove in on. So the life cycle of a Dorito bag with somebody like Mascaro is it's manufactured, packaged, used for the food, eating it, recycled, and then it's turned into maybe drywall. It's part of a gallon of jet fuel, what have you. It ends up in the rim of somebody's glasses. It's a much more extended life. No, we're good?
Great. Please, if you have questions from the public, please come up to the podium and state your name.
My name's Steve Almong, and thank you for the great presentation. I have two easy questions, I think. One, a couple people asked me, and I'm not that familiar, on flexible bags, and I'm just reiterating what I think I heard you say. There's now a symbol that it's a recycling symbol that comes on there. It's arrows, and they were showing me a lot of bags, and the arrows crossed out, and it says it's not recyclable.
Yeah.
So is that a misnomer?
It's not nationally, but it is for you guys. I mean, it's like a bag like this.
Yeah. Okay.
They'll often have that crossed out. All your FedEx bags, all your Amazon bags, all the ones that are paper with the bubble inside, that's all recyclable. So we've also found uses for moisture barrier bags, like the ones where you
Yeah.
get flour and sugar in, where
Right.
it's the craft paper with the poly lining. That poly lining has always ruined it. We've now found downstreams for that, and it's
And,
very
and
good.
that goes to like this dog treat bag, it says it's not recyclable. Right
Right.
here is the symbol, it's crossed out.
Yeah,
Not
that's-
recyclable, but what they're saying, it is recyclable.
That's what I just wanted
And
to
that's,
verify.
yep,
Okay.
yep. So now I'm putting it in.
You might even see a
recycle bin.
beef jerky bag that has that on
Okay.
there. It's recyclable.
Second question. Second question. So yeah, it sounds like that there's a ton of things that you now recycle that I wasn't aware of. I'm sure a lot of the public isn't. Take it the opposite. On a bag of grocery, what are those things that you get typically in a bag of grocery that are not recyclable?
What items? Well, yeah, if you like the
bulb.
foam.
Pardon me?
The foam that like a tray for meat.
Okay.
A foam tray for meat. It's not because of the blood. It's not because it's also not because it's not technically recyclable. It is a material that could be repulped, rebeaded, but you can't successfully capture it. It blows into a million pieces. It just does. I mean, you take styrofoam and run it through. You've seen our center. It will be busted into just dust.
Okay.
So it can't be captured. It's also horrible to transport. Now, there is technology people are working on, but it's years off, probably as many years off as that fluorescent waste. It's where they take these, and it's almost like one of those coin machines. You know where you take your change and it turns it into...
Yeah.
Right. They've got machines where you can take your foam and stick it in there, and it melts it down to a cube like a child's block. Now, you could load thousands of those blocks into Gaylords and put them on trucks and then transport tonnage down the road. I could fill an entire 40-foot truck with styrofoam, and I could probably bench press it if I wanted to. I mean, it doesn't weigh anything.
Right.
So you can't transport it.
Good. That's the kind
But
of
that's
any
one
other
example.
things in your normal grocery bag?
Yeah, the truth being, there's not much.
That's what it
Honestly,
sounds
like
like.
I tell people, go look at your vending machine. Everywhere else, everything in that vending machine is trash. If you put it in your recycling bin, it'll get recycled.
Yep. Okay.
All right, that's recyclable. But again, if you work at a place that doesn't have mascara, you can't put it in the recycling. It's only at your home or any businesses that actually use this.
Thank you.
All right, sure.
Thank you.
Good questions, thank you. Any
That's it.
more public comment? Please come up to the podium, state your name and if you're a resident. And let's get all these
Did you take your
images
question?
on social and.
No, I told him what to ask. He just did not ask.
We don't listen.
I
You know what,
am
my-
aware.
Yeah. Again, everybody says men don't listen to their wives.
What-
Now, I've never heard my wife say that.
I'm sure. So what I've heard is that I think the flyer you send out every year is great because they covered all the flexible plastics.
Good.
Which is great. So a bag salad, I know this is very picky, bag salad, I occasionally use them. So all of that flexible packing,
All of it.
then you get to the salad dressing, and it's gooey.
Right.
I always put that in the trash.
Yeah. You know what? That is something that's about the size of this. We're okay with getting the size of a candy bar. I know what you're talking about. It's almost like a Ken's dressing you get at Wawa.
Yeah.
Okay. Push it all out. That's no different than anything else. In the recycling process, they've learned to deal, like these companies, they've learned to deal with the oil in pizza.
Okay.
So they can take it. All right?
Right.
But other companies don't want it, okay, because it reduces the value of their bale. It does. Like they will pay less for a bale. All right? But again, I like to be transparent that there's benefits. Part of doing this project was a part that we didn't expect was that the flexible packaging equipment cleaned up all of our cardboard and our paper. Like it got, because this stuff would accidentally get in there. People would accidentally throw this out. And it would get into the cardboard bale and get into the paper bale. And then they get them and they call you up and say, I'm only paying half for this. Now everybody wants our cardboard and paper. So we get the best price for that product. But at the same time, to offset that, we've used that advantage to take lesser money on loads that have pizza boxes.
Okay.
And these guys are paying almost nothing for it. But it stays out of the landfill.
Right. So my second question is, sometimes people say, well, I don't really recycle a lot because if you put one thing in there, it just ruins the whole batch. Is that true?
Well, to a degree, it is. Like if you throw, You throw a garbage bag. If people threw garbage bags into their recycling bin, all right, and it gets dumped into a community truck, it gets compacted. That whole truck, now it's got banana peels in it and who the heck knows what, and it does ruin it. Sometimes they have to be rejected. That's the case.
Okay.
But we're talking about, if you're talking about non-food items, that's not a problem. You can throw in all these recyclables in there. Don't have fear of doing it.
Okay.
All right, as long as it's the cardboard, paper, glass, and so forth. And I want to point out with the glass, it's our DEP record that allows us to really put that glass to use, because glass is not a good recyclable product. It is extremely expensive to make glass out of recycled glass. It's cheaper to make new glass. It's also incredibly heavy to transport. Your cost is it's heavy, all right? Because of our DEP record, we have it approved as daily cover and allowed to use it in our roads. So all the glass we collect is recycled through reuse. Now, there is an advantage to that. I mean, for every ton of glass that we get and grind into aggregate, it's a ton of aggregate we don't have to buy or dig out of the earth. So it is a win. So reuse, which is the number one, reusing is what we do with all the glass.
Okay.
All right?
So commingling our two trash bins, no bueno.
Yeah.
But just throwing something in by mistake, not a
Well,
problem.
that's not going to ruin it.
Got it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? No, we're good? All right. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Very robust, very helpful.
Yes.
Great, and yeah, I'd love to share these images on our social page. It's, it's Earth Month. Because, it takes many, many times to really hear it, keep hearing what can you recycle, what can't you recycle. So I think that'll be helpful.
In PDF?
Great.
I think we have that in PDF, but I think there's so much misunderstanding about the flexible packaging. There's so much misunderstanding. And
Great. Okay, thank you for that presentation. Moving on to the consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda includes acceptance of the minutes of the Board of Supervisors business meeting of March 19th, 2026, and a final closeout of financial maintenance obligations for public improvements at the enclaves at Evansburg. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
a second?
Board comment? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. On to the public hearing, conditional use 2641 Ridge Pike 7 Brew. There'll be no vote on the application tonight. This is just a hearing. I'd like to make a motion to open the hearing. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, now that the hearing is officially open, I'd like to turn it over.
You still have to call for the vote.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Just all those in favor.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Now that the hearing is officially open, I'd like to turn it over to Solicitor Helionak to walk us through the details.
Is there anyone present for this application? Thank you. Is there anyone present for this application this evening?
I'm the owner of the property. My name's Steve Tornetta.
Steve, if you don't mind coming up, is there anybody from 7 Brew here this evening?
I don't know if there is, no.
Come up to the podium, Steve, so you can really hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm going, just for the sake of the record, I'm going to mark some exhibits. T1 is the application, Township 1 is the application, Township 2 is a copy of the notice, Township 3 is the proof of posting, Township 4 is the proof of publication, Township 5 is proof of mailing, and Township 6 is a letter from the Township's traffic engineer Bowman dated March 27th, 2026. So Steve, you're not the applicant though, right? You're just the property owner?
Correct.
We're going to, I mean, there's give me just a second. We're going to briefly recess into executive session.
This is not your fault.
Yeah.
We just, this is
Yeah,
unusual.
yeah.
Mike back.
Yes. Mike,
Mike, can you join us?
Right, Seven Brew's gonna be the tenant. Where's it, he's supposed to go where the diner is that's been empty forever? Used to be Friendly's on Rich Lake. Oh, right there, yeah, the big one. Yeah, that diner's been empty forever.
But Seven Brew, they just opened in Collegeville.
Correct.
Oh my God, everybody's been going crazy. I gotta tell my family, we're just there. We just went there Saturday.
I was just there the first time on Sunday.
And the line was crazy. I'm like, what is the big deal?
Oh, there was no line when we went. Weird that they're missing their hearing.
What's that?
Weird that they're missing their hearing.
Well, something must be wrong, because I asked them, is it returning here, the applicant? Nobody's running in from.
I wonder if he thinks it's Thursday.
What's that?
This meeting's usually on Thursday. I don't know. Yeah, because we don't usually have meetings on Wednesday.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, wait, what's this today? Today's Wednesday, right?
Right. Weird. It's on there. It says Chief Jackson wants special stuff. We need approval.
What they need is a commission. I got you. I was actually wondering why, but okay. I can feel my allergies starting. Everybody up. I got really good. That's right. I felt my eyes.
when they have them. And I wonder if it's
Scan it, yeah. All right, thank you everyone for your patience.
All right, we are back from executive session for the board to receive legal advice from the solicitor on the conditional use application. At this time, the board is going to continue this application until its next scheduled meeting on Thursday, April 16th at 6 p.m. We're not going to take any testimony or move through any procedures tonight due to the applicant not being present and demonstrating, at least for now, a lack of prosecution of this application. So this hearing stands in continuance. And we can move on.
Okay, on to old business, consideration of ordinance number 697, amending chapter 135 of the Township Code, vehicles abandoned. E.J. Mentry, Township Manager, for more.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This ordinance was discussed in pretty significant detail at the previous meeting, during which the board authorized advertisement. It's since been duly advertised and is in a form ready for your adoption. Essentially, this ordinance amends Chapter 135 of the existing Township Code, the vehicles section, to create more specific definitions for enforcement of abandoned vehicle violations and allowing specific coverings of abandoned vehicles to be acceptable in an effort to avoid enforcement and citation. And everything is very clearly defined and laid out in the ordinance. We had a good discussion about it 2 weeks ago, and it is ready for your adoption.
Okay, motion to adopt ordinance number 697. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Board comment? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. On to new business, approval of specialized equipment and furniture for the new police department. E.J. Mentry and Chief Jackson for more information.
Thank you again, Madam Chair, and I'll let Chief weigh in if I misspeak or if there's any specific questions on the proposal. But what's before the board is a proposal from Diversified Storage Solutions, which is a CoStar certified specialized equipment and furniture vendor. This is to provide specialized furniture equipment and storage equipment for the police department at 800 Adams Avenue as part of the renovations. It includes items such as high-density mobile shelving systems, pass-through evidence lockers for the evidence room, specialized weapon storage and armory workbenches. It includes all of the specialized equipment and furniture for the locker rooms that are being constructed as part of the renovations, and then some other shelving items. This is a portion of, and I will give you the cost. The total cost for all of these materials, including installation and freight, is $183,247. This was included in the project budget for 800 Adams Avenue. This is an owner direct soft cost, so this was not part of the bids that went out for the multi-prime bids to the contractors, but so it was separate from those bids that were awarded. However, like I said, it was built into the budget. We had $150,000 budgeted for specialized furnishings and file storage, in addition to $175,000 budgeted for furniture and appliances. So this proposal eats up essentially all of the specialized furnishings and file storage for essentially all for the police department, and then some of the less specialized shelving that's included, which is a smaller portion of this proposal, comes out of that furniture and appliances, $175,000. So everything is within the project budget, was allocated for. We did shop this around. As I mentioned, this vendor is a CoStar certified vendor. Nevertheless, we still saw multiple quotes for this due to the, it's a significant cost, obviously, and this was the best quote. This is a vendor that has done a lot of similar work and some work in the area as well. And with that, I will turn it over to the board or to Chief to add anything. Covered it all.
So again, no additional funding is needed for this equipment. It's all within budget and was all planned for.
That's correct. This was all part of the original planning for the project. And the reason for the timing for this, I know intuitively, you might think furniture comes kind of at the end of the project when all the renovations are done. Because of the specialized nature and especially the high density nature of some of this furniture, it needs to be installed before in some specific areas, before the renovations are complete, before final flooring's put in, things like that. Some of these things need to be installed, which is why we're coming to you with this now, because it kind of fits into the timing and the sequence of the renovations.
I have a question for the chief. On the weapons storage, there's 7 racks, each holds 24 weapons. That's 168. I'm just trying to flange that up against the number of officers that we have.
Yeah, I mean, the weapons racks, it's just, I think it's actually just standard racks. I don't know if they come in any sizes smaller than that.
Yeah.
But we have a multiple number of rifles that we have in-house here, or could have in-house at any given time, so.
Yeah, it's more like, so you have a rationale for needing 7 of them for a total of 168 weapons being stored.
Is it 168?
Yeah, there's 7 racks. Each one holds 24 long guns. They're on top of each other, 12 and 12, and you have 7 of those. So 7 times 24 is 168.
I'd have to look at that a little bit more closely. Yeah, I didn't realize it was 168 racks.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, like,
So
you know.
you're saying it holds 168 rifles?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, there could be a really good reason for it. Like, you might have a shotgun and M16 for each officer, that's 60, and then you need space to move them through cleaning and armor or
No, that's an
operations.
oversight on my part. I didn't realize it had that many rifle racks.
Yeah, and I might be misreading it too.
No, we don't need that 168 rifle racks. No.
I think the board you can still approve this proposal, but we'll verify the quantities. Obviously,
maybe
if there's any increases needed, we'll come back to the board, but we'll be able to decrease the amounts before.
Yeah, maybe just take a look at all the numbers, make sure that somehow they didn't, the vendor didn't sneak something in. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. A motion to approve the diversified storage solutions proposal for specialized police equipment and furniture at 800 Adams. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Board comment? Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. On to announcements. The Township Administration Office will be closed April 3rd and April 6th for the Easter holiday. The Police Department will host a bike rodeo on April 18th at the police station starting at 10 a.m. There will be safety checks, an obstacle course, bike registration, kids race, fun ride, and cookout. Senior bingo will be held April 23rd from 1 to 3 in the Township Auditorium. Register at lptrec.com or call 610-539-3543. A Human Relations Commission meeting will be held April 8th at 6:30. Sewer Authority meeting will be held April 13th at 4:30. Library Board meeting, April 20th at 6 p.m. Environmental Advisory Council meeting, April 20th at 7 p.m. Parks and Rec Board, April 21st at 6 p.m. Planning Commission meeting, April 22nd at 7 p.m. And a Zoning Hearing Board meeting, April 23rd at 7 p.m. On to courtesy of the floor, not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Any meeting attendees wishing to address the board, please come to the podium, state your name, whether you're a township resident. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Public comment is an opportunity to share your thoughts with the board. Supervisors may respond at their discretion, but are not required to answer questions during this portion of the meeting. If you would like follow-up, please contact the board or township staff directly by email or phone. So please come up to the podium if you'd like to speak. No? Okay, seeing no public comment. On to board comments. We'll start at the end.
I have no board comment.
Neither do I.
Okay, neither do I. This is a really productive, good meeting. I'm very happy with the presentations. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And we will see you for our next business meeting, April 16th at 6 p.m., May 21st at 6 p.m., and then once we're in May, there's only one meeting per month for May, June, July, and August